And we're back. Okay, gosh. What's your worst day? Mm, I remember a day in Liberia when our family was living there in 2017 when everything was going wrong. I mean, I'm not just talking about a bad day. I'm talking about all of my effort for the previous years was just falling apart. The things I cared about most, I realized this one day in a poignant moment. Everything I care about most is falling apart. And I am doing my level best to not have that happen. Maybe, well, sure, I, I can be blind, but hopefully it's not willful blindness. It's just ignorance and inexperience, perhaps. But like I felt like everything crumbling and turning into dust in my fingers was not for lack of effort or righteous desire or a pure heart. It was just all falling apart, man. Everything was building, like relationships, family, orphanage, health, like business, everything seemed to just be like crumbling down. And that was really hard, very humbling. Um, and I fortunately know something about prayer and the power of prayer. Um, um, and I know that God is faithful to those who love Him and obey Him and try their best. Um, that we're never alone on our worst days. So I hope that on your worst days, you don't um, you don't feel like you have to go it alone. I mean, some of the worst days are when you feel the most alone. And I hope that you remember to fall on your knees in prayer. Okay. What are you proud of? I don't know. I think I've I've tried to live a good life. um, I think I heard somebody say once, "What is the most important day of your life?" You know, and answers were like, "Oh, it's the day that you get married. It's the day you graduate from high school. It's the day you graduate from college. It's the day you get the priesthood or whatever." And this old cowboy in this story said, "No, those are all good days, good decisions, but the most important day of your life will be the day when you decide to be a good guy." Um, and I thought that's really good. And I think probably I have tried to be a good guy. Um, and I'm proud of that because it makes my life meaningful, gives me purpose. Um, I live after the manner of happiness, inasmuch as what I have control of as it pertains to myself. Um, and I can't control other people, even people close to me, whose actions and decisions impact me in ways that could contribute to unhappiness, stress, challenges. But I'm proud of how I've committed to keep making and keeping covenants or promises to be my best. That's really what it is. And I've tried to do that. And when I've fallen short, I've repented. And I'm proud of that. Out of the 12 apostles, which is your favorite and why? Well, there they are. We're talking about living apostles or ancient day apostles? Of these guys up here, I think probably, I don't know, maybe Elder Christofferson, because I've had personal experience with him up close. Even though, like, I'm sure he doesn't know who I am. But I know who he is, and I got to spend some time with him when I was in the mission field as he came to tour our mission. I love the way he always has a twinkle in his eye when he's teaching, even serious things. He's a very noble man, so put together, and so kind, and so knowledgeable. I love Elder Christofferson. I've also resonated a lot with how Elder Bednar teaches. And when I was a young teenager, I really liked Elder Maxwell and Elder Eyring. I thought they were just awesome. Okay. What specific things do you love about the gospel? I've probably answered that. I specifically love that we gather. That's not something I used to love, but I've come to see the value of gathering together to work out our Christianity in a group, in a way, and that's really hard. But it's so useful. It's one thing to be a good Christian all on your own, out in your little cabin in the woods by yourself. It's a whole other thing when you're bouncing off of people who can be a little prickly. When you're having a bad day, when they're having a bad day, I really see the value of that. Is that what I love about the gospel? I don't know. Jesus said that we were supposed to gather, and he knew what he was talking about. I love the scriptures intensely because by reading, studying, pondering, getting into the words on these pages, like, I have found truth. I've experienced revelation. I've learned about myself, my body and my spirit, and it's just amazing to have the Word of God. I love that so much. Scriptures mean a lot to me. Okay, similar. What do you like about going to church? Maybe it's different. Maybe I just answered that question though. I've actually, going to church has been probably my least favorite part of being a member of the church. I love ministering to people. I love learning from others. I love teaching and sharing. I love the scriptures. I love what the priesthood does for all of us. Temples. And going to church has been something that I've done willingly, but not with a lot of excitement, because haven't typically found, like, I don't know, I'm not a very social person. And so being in a social environment where you're forced to interact can be uncomfortable for me. And lots of times I've been at church like without friends, without connection to people that are there. So going to church has been a matter of keeping a covenant and going to interact with the sacrament, and possibly to see if there's anybody I could help there that day, or bless in some way. But going to church hasn't been something I have done for myself socially. And some of you may identify with that. But there's great value in it. Like I just explained, the value of gathering is genius when it comes to trying to get us to live a Christ-like life. And once in a while, you'll meet somebody that you really connect with. That's good. What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do? Let's see. I remember being in the mission field in Jacinto City with Elder Hudson and Elder Paventi, teaching. I was really enjoying my leadership calling, training. Just things were going so well, and we were teaching a lot of people who were progressing. We loved them with all of our hearts, and they loved us back. And I got a call that I had to go. Well, I was called to go into work in the mission office, and I did not want to do that. I did not see myself as the kind of guy who's an office guy. The kind of guy, I didn't even see myself as a suit wearing, tie wearing kind of guy, but I did that as a missionary. But like, I really loved the work of proselyting, being out there, like on the streets, pounding doors, getting to know people. Loved it. And then that felt like it was being taken away from me, to go into the office. It felt like a prison sentence to me. That was a hard day for me, but had great purpose also. And I'm really grateful that I had that opportunity to work with my mission president so closely for so long. It's really, really hard to go confess sins to another person, whether that's somebody just in your life or whether that's to a bishop. Confessing sins is tough business. So I know what that's like, and it's 100% worth it if you feel like your sins are troubling you and they're not leaving you alone. Let's see. I talked a little bit about how everything was falling apart in Liberia at one point. And so emotionally, I think one of the hardest things I've ever had to do was to close the orphanage. And the way that all went down was just really ugly and really sad for me. So that may be the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Was something I'd loved so much and had worked so hard for and put so much love into, to have it turn out not to be what it was meant to be was very disheartening. Let's see. Any of the other little notes I wrote on here? What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do? Physically, I think physically maybe the hardest thing I've ever done. We were in Puerto Rico, and we were at a beach, and somehow, you get out there in the waves to do some body surfing or boogie boarding or whatever, and like we had fins on our feet and had a big board, and we're going out and catching waves and trying to ride them and stuff. Well, there was a strong current pulling us out and down to like this huge pile of dangerous sharp rocks. So we kind of figured that out, some of us, and took a lot of work to get back in. Well, I had a younger brother who went out and kept going out and kept going out after some of the rest of us had come in. And I had just come in, took a lot of effort. I was exhausted. I was physically completely drained. And then we realized that my younger brother was out there and he couldn't get back in. And that current was going to carry him with these huge waves and would eventually pound him into these rocks if he wasn't able to get back. And I realized that I was the strongest swimmer among us and most physically able. And so if anybody was going to help my younger brother, it was going to be me, but I was already completely drained. And so just that moment there on that beach, when I asked myself, can I do this? And realized, I don't think I can actually do this. I don't think I have the strength to go out there again that far and swim against the current to get back in, helping my brother do the same. I didn't feel physically able. I knew I didn't have it in me. But I also knew that if I didn't, or somebody didn't, then my younger brother could drown or be seriously injured. Because he didn't have the physical strength to get himself back. He could not do it on his own. And so it fell to me too, and I didn't think I could. And so I said a prayer, a silent prayer, that I would have the strength enough to do what must be done to help my younger brother. And I prayed the whole way out and the whole way back, and it was completely exhausting. I didn't feel any superhuman strength, but I was able to get us back. And my brother had to work hard too to do that. He was exhausted. He was already exhausted by the time I got out there of trying to get back in. So it was scary, very challenging. That might be the hardest physical thing I've ever had to do. Okay, I think maybe the rest of these we're going to try to do in class. I've kind of grouped them. I think that takes care of most of getting to know me questions. As you put them in, I'll answer them, and I'll try to do a good job of just doing them every day, spending a little bit of time so they don't pile up. But anyway, thanks for asking the questions. Thanks for eating the candy. Thanks for being here in seminary. Really love you guys, and I think it's fun that you're interested in getting to know me a little bit. I appreciate that. I value having anybody ever care about me in any small way. Like, it means a lot to me. So thanks.